Hopefully you never have to go through that. We're going live, by the way. Hey, everybody! Welcome to the show! I gotta remember to post this stuff on Discord. I always forget this. I write it out, and then I don't post it, because I'm the worst. All right, there we go. And I'm like, I go back to Discord when the show's over, and I'm like, I didn't hit enter! It's all typed out, and I didn't hit enter! Son of a gun! But now I got it right this time.
We did it.
We did it. We fucking did it. Oh, man. Feeling my arms. They feel good.
I bet they feel good. They look good.
They feel good.
Really, really large.
Good and fuzzy.
Bigger than mine.
Fuzzy arms.
I hardly even got any arms. Actually, yeah, I got these at the thrift store.
What, those arms at the thrift store?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Walk to the club like, what up? I got me some arms.
And boobs, apparently, you know? I used to work at the hotel. I did something weird once. I don't remember why. I did a weird thing where someone came up. What up? I got some arms. What's up, Goblin? How you doing? Meow to Zinny. I was working at the hotel, and this guest walked up and said he wanted some change. And I don't know why I did this with my hands. I'm like, oh, you want some change? You know, like that. And the guy was like, this is the universal symbol for you want some change? Like, I'm going to fondle your balls sort of situation. And he just looked at me weird, and my coworker goes, what the fuck was that? I'm like, I don't know, man. I just made the hands. Hey.
I feel like I've done that before working at, when I worked at the JCPenney.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking pictures. I've done like can I do something else for you? Like, I don't even know what the context was, but I know that definitely happened where I was trying to do my sales pitch, and I was like, and I can like get you up to the next level.
Oh my god, I can jerk you out if you want. Can we get you up there? I'll throw in a hand job. Oh, yeah, the other day, I can't remember if I was talking to Allie or something, and I was like, yeah, nice job, and I, like, did the shocker, and I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? Like, I was trying to do, like, metal, but I was like, yeah! I'm like, fuck. What am I doing? Brain fart. Oh, that's awesome. I bet, you know, talking about return business, you know, people are like, dude, this guy Noah... People just want him to take photos all the time. I don't know why,
but they want to come and then they want to come back. That's just the truth.
And they're like, man, Noah, you know what? Your ratings went through the roof, man. You're the first employee to get a 4.9 rating. And the governing board doesn't even understand how, but they're here for it, you know?
It goes up to 3. It's at a 3 scale.
It's crazy, man. It's wild. It's wild stuff. That's so cool. Cool stuff, man.
This is so cool.
This
is the coolest.
Totes cool. God damn, man. I go through the Am I the Asshole stuff sometimes on Reddit. And some of the times I'm just looking for fun, silly stuff, but some people have some real problems that they want.
They are the asshole.
Yeah. Some people just really, really want. I'm like,
a lot of the time it's just people that don't know like social norms, and they were raised a particular way that they just don't know what like the societally correct thing to do in a situation is.
Yeah.
And they do it so fucking wrong, and then everybody's like, no, you just did that so fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, sorry, but yeah, you're just wrong.
Yeah, I just love the title sometimes too. Am I the asshole because I make my wife dig through the trash? I'm like, you know, there's probably some context to that. But without context, it's funnier in my mind. We're like, hey, get down there and dig in the trash.
It's like one of the ones that I feel like I remember the best is like a dude is like, am I the asshole because my girlfriend is mad at me that we went on vacation with my mom, and like one of the nights we had one hotel room and I slept with my mom instead of my girlfriend. And it's like, well, I don't know if you're an asshole, but it's fucking weird.
It's weird,
like,
man.
It's like, I don't know why you would. Even like, I had a really close relationship with my mom. She was a single parent, you know, whatever. It's like,
she has nightmares.
I don't know.
She gets the creepy nightmares. It's like, ugh. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Again, I'm with you. I'm like, I don't know if that makes you an asshole, but it definitely makes you weird. You know?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, that's a weird one. Yeah, I just Am I the asshole for not letting my sister believe that she can talk to a bird?
No. No, I don't think you are.
Again, out of context, you're just like, I think you're good, man. I think you're good.
With context, it's like, I don't know, she just has her mother's favorite bird was like this bird, and it's not like she's talking to it because it's like her best friend or whatever, but it just like it's like a prayer meditation thing. It just makes her feel good, and I don't like that she does it.
Yeah,
like that's probably what it ends up being.
It's like how people go and talk, to gravestones, and they feel like they're talking to their family or whatever, and they're like, no, it's this bird,
It's normal. It's regular.
It's totally normal. It's totally cool. Well, thanks everyone for showing up for the show tonight. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Obviously, Justin's not here. We'll talk about that on the show. So we're glad you're here. We're glad you're hanging out. And let's get this show on the road. All right. Here we go. We are recording. And 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug, and joining me this week, because Justin is off doing other stuff, is once again, welcome back for, I don't know, 6th time? 7th time?
So many.
8th time. Noah Reno!
Hello!
I should have had a sound thing ready to go to celebrate that.
For the manyth time on the show, another new camera angle, but this will hopefully be the last one.
Yes.
I think I'm done changing my camera angles.
And listen, hey, if you need to switch some stuff around, you do it. That's totally cool. There's no judgment here. It's all good. Yeah, no, Noah was kind enough to step in and help out because Justin is currently moving into a real house. So, which is super cool. I'm super pumped. Justin moved to a new city, and he's been there about a year in an apartment trying to find a house. And he was trying to find a house when he was in the Chicago area. Couldn't find one, ended up moving up to Michigan, and then he finally got it, and now he's moving in, and I'm so pumped for him because we've talked about it on the show, but I don't think you realize every week Justin has to set up his setup, and he doesn't like his setup, but it works. And he basically goes into his bedroom that he shares with his wife, and he sets up his camera. He puts this stuff together. His wife can't come in and go to bed. He's basically occupying the space, and now he's going to have a dedicated space where he's actually going to put some, I almost said effort. That's not the word I'm thinking of, but he's going
he's actually going to care for once.
He has a reason to care because it's like, this is my space. This is my production space, and I can't wait to see what he does to set up in it. And he's been talking about trying to get a PC, which will be awesome. So, because God willing, he'll join us for some of those video game streams. So I was telling him about the Red Dead Online stuff. I'm like, listen, you are a perfect candidate for that. I go, I don't know what I'm doing in the game. And that game would be perfect with Justin. Justin is an X factor that would make that game just a little bit sweeter. So
I got B in on it. They're loving it.
Oh,
they
no
love
shit.
The cowboy fantasy.
Oh, it's so good, man. I just love it because, when we play, because anyone who doesn't know, who hasn't heard Noah on here before, Noah also streams, at Noah Reno, Twitch. And then also you've seen him on many a clip, either from this podcast itself or from the video game streams, most recently as Gilk, old Gilky, from the Red Dead Online, leader of the Creamy Bottom Boys. And,
Yep.
The sad realization over those 2 seconds where you're like, yeah, that's something I made up. That's something that I do.
I don't the Augie Gilk and Andy America are the
That's right.
Soggy Bottom Boys, Soggy Bottom Gang.
Creamy Bottom, not Soggy Bottom.
Creamy Bottom Gang.
Yeah.
Soggy Bottom Boys, Creamy Bottom Gang.
Big difference. Between those two. Much respect. So we have a lot of fun playing those characters and just getting into shenanigans in general. And there's a new game hopefully we'll be getting into soon called Dark and Darker. It's currently like a demo's out right now, and it is like a fantasy it's a perfect just meal for the Creamy Bottom Boys.
That's
So
a good way to put it. That's good words for it. It's perfect meal, good for consumption.
yes, I'm looking forward to trying that out. So I think it's. Do we know when it's? I know it's coming out soon, but I don't know exactly when.
I don't know release date. I think they said third quarter of 2023.
Okay.
So later this year.
Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Well, hopefully, when that comes out, I'm getting it. So
yeah,
And
I
we'll
definitely ought to get in on this beta while it's happening. I'm sure they'll probably take it down, put it back up before the game comes out or whatever. But.
Yeah, I'll definitely feel like giving that a try at some point. Hopefully, sometime this week. As a heads up, just right now, letting you all know will be no video game stream this weekend. I'm going out of town, so no video game stream. But we'll be back, regular time for the podcast next week with another guest host. Because Justin is still occupied for the next couple weeks. So you're in luck. The cool people are coming by to hang out while Justin is out doing his stuff.
Dad's away, the kids will play.
Not to insinuate that Justin's also not a cool person, because he totally is. It's just he's out doing stuff, so I got to find cool people to, backfill him.
It's just like, even if you have a cool teacher, you like to have a substitute from time to time.
Right? Listen,
yeah.
Ice cream's awesome, but you eat it every day, you still need to have a break and have pizza, break it up,
Then you occasionally get the pizza and the ice cream at the same time.
Yes.
Which some would argue is not as good, but,
sweet and savory, that's what people say,
I guess in that instance, that would be if any of these guests are on the show when Justin is also here.
Yes, that is what we strive for.
Which
that's what we aim for.
happens sometimes.
It does.
Occasionally.
Sometimes we make that happen. So that's exciting. I'm so happy for Justin. Justin, if you're listening, which you aren't, just know that we love you, and I hope the move-in is going well, and I can't wait to see your setup when you're done. So this
Justin,
is gonna be really
specifically, cool. If you've gotten this far in the podcast, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about the show.
Yeah,
so far.
Justin, leave us a comment about how things are going with moving in. What's your ideal setup? What's it going to look like? Yeah.
How do you think that? How could you help somebody else move?
Right.
Using your words.
And design wise, like what's your goal? Are you looking for
square rooms? You kind of like an open wall, open concept thing, or
you like 2-point, 3-point lighting? Like what kind of guy are you? You just go for the bare minimum. What are you thinking?
I think you do one light. One
light to rule them all.
I guess I have 2 lights.
Yes.
2-point light system.
I got 2-point lights as well. As I just stared into them, that was a terrible idea. I'm like,
my lighting professor would probably not be happy with my lighting setup, but I only have so many options in this space.
Yeah, gotta make the most of it, So, booyah! Booyah to Justin. Booyah, booyah. And we'll see you soon, pal. But yeah, just like Noah said, hey, if you're here and you're enjoying yourself, hit that like button.
Hit
that subscribe button. It's free. Support us. We're doing well, man. We're over 325 subs right now, which is pretty cool. Like, we're just climbing those ranks, moving right along. So thanks to everyone who's done that. And, while you're here, leave a comment. Leave your favorite emoji, whatever you're going to do. If you're like, Doug, hey, I'm just listening to this, okay? I'm not on YouTube. That's cool. Wherever you're listening to this on the old podcast world.
Leave a review on the podcast app.
Leave a rate. Rate it.
Maybe
review
it. We'll read it. We'll read it on the show.
Yeah, right? Let us know.
Only within now when we're done with this recording, though.
Right, yeah. We'll go check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll check it out. It'll be good, and we appreciate it. And if you're just listening to it, you're like, wait, I didn't know you were on YouTube. We are. YouTube.com/MindGapPodcast. We live stream on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central most of the time. And I also host a video game stream on Fridays most of the time at 8 p.m. Central. So, again, not this week, but in the past, we've been doing some cool stuff. Last weekend, Seth and I played We Were Here, which is a puzzle game. It's actually free to play on Steam, so you can do it yourself. But here's the thing. You should have a partner. You can be crazy and go rando and see if you can do it with someone, but the conceit of it is you essentially are 2 people that are in Antarctica, and you come across a castle, and as you enter the castle, you get split up. And one of you is in like a library, and the other one's called the Explorer, and you have a one-way radio that you can use to talk, but you can't, like, as one person's talking, the other person can't talk to them. So you can talk, but they won't be able to hear you. So you have to sort of figure out some puzzles as you're going along, and it's a little creepy at the same time. There's some creepy elements to it, but it was a lot of fun. Seth and I are really dumb, and it was a real shameful experience for probably the first 20 minutes as we couldn't figure out the first puzzle.
I loved it.
I'm glad you did, because I'm like, we're dumb, we're dumb. But there were some really fun moments in it, and it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool game, and we bought the sequel, so we will be playing that again in the near future as well. So definitely enjoy those. So stay tuned for all those live streams and all that good stuff as well. So if you would like to join the Discord, be part of the cool Mind Gap crew, link in the description down below. You can meet all the cool people, be part of the community. You can also check out the link to our merch down there as well at redbubble.com. And if you're feeling so inclined, patreon.com/mindgappodcast. You can drop some dollar bills to help support us. Never required, but always appreciated. So there we go. That right there is what we call fucking housekeeping. And it's done. Noah, how the hell have you been, man? You haven't been on here since December, and you're rocking. You're doing great. You're back on Twitch, which is cool. Yes. Tell people what you're up to, man.
Yeah, so since the last time I was on the podcast, I've returned to Twitch for my streaming stuff. I moved into a house myself. I've bought a car in the last week, and I'm getting to the inner machinations, the beginnings of starting a business. So lots of big moves. 2023 is going to be a massive year for the Noah Reno household, and we're also hoping to expand like the Twitch formula. I'm hoping to break out of gaming a little bit, do a little bit more other stuff. TBD, details coming later. But if you're interested
teasers,
in that, tune in.
That's really cool. Yeah, I enjoy watching you stream. It's always a good time. I often will have it on while I'm doing work or in meetings and stuff like that. Just playing GeoGuessr, Luck Be a Landlord.
Overwatch, Luck Be a Landlord.
Yeah, Overwatch.
That's kind of my goal. That's my target audience, is people who are at work that don't want to be there. That's why I stream at like noon.
Yeah.
Instead of like 8 o'clock at night when everybody else is going.
Hey, it's smart, right? There's got to be programming somewhere,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty cool. It makes sense. So I
got a niche I'm trying to hit.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, so you also check it out. Check out Noah and all of his cool stuff. It's definitely enjoyable. It's very entertaining. So check him out. Check him out on the Twitcheroos. So. Anywho, let's get to like our first sort of main topic here, and it's something that's been on so many people's minds. It's been on so many different social media feeds. It's been all over the place. People are talking about it, and it's Netflix and how they're changing password sharing. The crackdown is here, or almost here, mostly here. They're testing it in other countries. Yeah, and essentially they're like, hey, we know people like to share passwords with each other, and they're like, I need that money. I need that money because shares are down, and we got to find a way to milk the gilkers, as they say. So
they've took away our shares, so we're gonna take away your shares.
Yes,
that's what Netflix is saying.
Yeah. So I think the long and short of it is that there's password sharing fees. I don't know a ton of the specifics on this, but essentially, like. I believe it's kind of like you have to be signed into a particular network IP address that's tied to a location. You have to do it like once a month. I don't know if it's changed since I've read that initially, but essentially you have to you basically have to check in with your home network once a month. Otherwise it's gonna be like, hey, you got to pay for an extra account more or less to do this. So it's causing quite the stir. I think the additional extra members like $750 a month.
Right, and it sounds like it's kind of like, so if you share a password and they use your account, if it's not on your internet, it will sign out of all of those devices, if I'm understanding correctly. And then you just cannot have more than one user on an account. Like you can't have everybody's own profiles. Those are going to cost money now. To have in like different profiles. Maybe that's kind of what I gleaned from the article.
And this article comes from CNET, by the way. And my initial thought to this was it doesn't bother me too much because Jill and I have one account that we use, and It's funny because Jill has a profile on there that I also use because we got it years ago when it first, Netflix, we were still getting DVDs before it even started streaming and stuff like that. So it was just Jill set it up. So it was always Jill's profile. And so it's got the weirdest recommendations because it's got like whatever true crime stuff that Jill watches. Plus it's like, oh, check out this anime, like it's got a weird combo of things that, it keeps suggesting. And then Natalie has her own profile that she watches for kid stuff. But, when I think about this, it's like, it's always on our network. We're not, we have one account, one password, and it's just the two of us use it, and it is what it is. So to me, initially at this stage of my life, it doesn't bother me too much because I don't share passwords with anybody for anything. So this in particular doesn't bother me too much for like the initial stages. I think it's a little more complicated the more that I think about it, but that's kind of where I am initially. How about you?
So our Netflix situation is we made our Netflix account, but my wife's parents pay for it.
Okay.
And so they use it, and of course we use it. So we have like four profiles on it, and each of us have our own whatever our own algorithm, and so like all of us use it basically. So it's interesting that we won't be able to do that anymore because we even though it's like it doesn't feel like password sharing because it's like we set up the account basically for them, but like we use it. And now just because we have two sets of people or two IP addresses, we have to pay, upwards of $8 to $10 or whatever to maintain just what we always had already.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks. It really sucks. I guess I get on a certain level, like I'm sure there are people who have been using Netflix since like 2014, just off of somebody else's password.
Yeah.
Or like an ex-girlfriend, like stayed logged in on their account. Or
yeah.
There's people who forgot to sign out at like an Airbnb or whatever, and people have been using that one, like just strangers have just been using these people, whatever. But I don't think it's an issue. I don't know. They still make money. They're still pumping millions of dollars into show. I understand that their stocks are down now, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like I think like that's kind of because a lot of the content they've been producing lately is not so good, and there's not stuff on the platform that people want to watch. There's not a cause and effect to the password sharing thing because it's been done for ages. It's been done forever, and at Netflix's peak, I'm sure that password sharing was also at its peak. I mean, I don't have the numbers on that, don't quote me, but I think now Netflix is just a less appealing platform. And so I guess charging people more money to use your platform that people want to use less is not a good way to have more people use your platform.
Well, I think there's just obviously more competition now too. So
absolutely.
And I think that's, part of it is that, Netflix at its peak didn't have as much competition. So it's kind of like, I liken it to, say someone uses a song, that doesn't belong to them, right? And it doesn't make any money. Usually the copyright owner is not going to go after you for it. But the second that starts blowing up, starts getting a lot of attention, all this sort of stuff. Someone's like, hey, use that song without asking. I want some fucking money for that. Or some sort of situation. It's same thing with Netflix. Netflix is like, this is fine. But now, because stock's dipping and, subs have kind of plateaued, they're looking for a way to cash in on some of that stuff because they're like, hey, these sons of bitches are out there, watching this stuff and they're sharing passwords. That's some horse shit. And it's like, well, I don't know. It's weird because, again, for me personally, this doesn't affect me, but I started thinking, okay, well, what if Natalie was in college, and Jill and I were paying for Netflix and she had her own profile? I'd be like, yeah, you can still, I don't give a shit, but she wouldn't be able to do it at that point because it'd be like, hey, she's not in your home stuff. She's going to have to buy her own. I'm like, that kind of sucks, that if that were the case, to basically be like, oh yeah, so just because you're not physically here, it almost seems like a very archaic model of like old school cable, right? Like think about, oh well, Doug has HBO at his house, so if you want to watch HBO, you have to go to his house to watch it. You know, you can't just be like, well, I'm just gonna borrow his account and watch it on my TV. It's like, no, your TV's not hooked up with HBO, so you can't watch it. You know, it just seems kind of weird and old.
On like a cost level, it's weird for me because I have pretty much every streaming service. I have Netflix, Discovery, HBO, Hulu, Disney, and Peacock. Peacock I get for free with my cable or my Wi-Fi, and then I'm paying for HBO and Discovery. I split Disney with everybody who's on my Spotify plan, which I'm going to talk about Spotify later because they do this well. And then I have Paramount as well through somebody else, and I have Hulu through somebody else. So it's like, on a certain level, I'm trading some of these things. So it's like, I am paying for this service, and then in exchange for me paying for it, somebody else is using it, and then I'm using something that they are paying for.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm breaking even on all of these overlapping ones. It's like I'm basically paying for HBO and Disney, but I have everything, and that cost is being supplemented elsewhere.
Sure.
Other people are paying for the services that I am using, and I'm paying for the services that they are using.
Yeah.
So it's a very strange. It's strange, but I like it.
It's a barter system, but it kind of makes sense to me, you know?
Yeah.
In that you guys aren't pirating it outright, because that's the stuff where I'm just like, yeah, no. If someone's straight up going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to download all this shit and torrent and everything like that, it is what it is. But the fact is, yeah, you're paying for some and leasing that out to other people, and then vice versa. You're leasing from other people and they're paying for it, but it works. So if the ultimate goal is that every single user for Netflix has to pay a subscription, yeah, I mean, that's just, finances, just folks just get a giant boner thinking about that, because all those, all those
sense.
users equates to what it is. But the problem is, you didn't start out doing that. You started out, it's just like Napster, when you can't put the genie back in the bottle, where like people are like, yeah, I'm downloading music for free, and they're like, okay, now you're gonna pay for it, and people are like, no, I don't want to do that. I've just been getting it for free. Now you tell me I have to pay? It's a dangerous, it's a slope that you go down and there's no coming back from it. And so with this, it feels kind of gross. I feel like some of the reactions to it have been also kind of obnoxious to me, where I've seen these people be like, "Dear Netflix, I'm not going to use you anymore. Do you know why?" Because this person, I think this person was trying to make a good point, but it came off as very entitled. They're like, you know what? My parents don't even like Netflix. They don't even use it. They don't watch it because there's nothing on there that they want to watch. But do you know what? I like to do it. I like to watch it. And I keep telling them to renew our subscription because I like to use that stuff. Well, guess what? I don't live with my parents, so you know what I'm going to tell them? I'm going to tell them to fucking cancel it. And I'm like, okay, you can do that. Or you can pay for it yourself. That's the vibe of like, my parents are paying for this, and I'm going to tell them not to pay for it anymore. I'm like, okay. Well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange too, because they're doing this at around the same time that they are canceling or finishing a lot of their most popular shows. So especially this is a different conversation, as the animation world is right now. But a lot of shows have been canceled recently. They've not been renewed for season 2 or season 3, or like Stranger Things has 1 season left, and like Wednesday, it was like the most watched show of 2022. And yes, it got a 2nd season, but you can only draw out a story of Wednesday Addams so fucking far.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I don't think it's super smart of them to. Who knows? They might see a big influx of new users, or people who are like 10 years ago got a password from somebody, and they're like, oh, okay, I can buy it, I use it, whatever. But you're definitely gonna see an influx of people who just cancel it. who even people who actively use it but share it with 15 people and are like, well, those 15 people aren't going to buy it, and I use it less than them, so like I'm not going to renew my subscription that I've been paying for everybody or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very strange. But it had me thinking about how Spotify does it. And Spotify, of course, is very different. The music industry is very different than the television industry. But the Spotify family plan is cool because you can still exploit it. Because everybody is supposed to be under the same roof. Everybody's supposed to be the same household. But they only ask you to confirm that you live in the same household via the website, where you just put in the address of the account the account owner, and then they say, okay, you know their address, so you must live with them.
Yeah.
And then it just works. It's awesome. And it would be more interesting if Netflix were to do something like that, where you still pay this premium for this plan that allows you to have multiple people on it, but you can just do what you want with it at that point. Where I would be fine paying $15 for Netflix if I could just give that to everybody. If I could just let everybody have it, if they know, okay, multiple people are using this pass, or even if they you get 5 password shares a month.
Sure.
You can have 5 login devices a month, and you, as the owner of the account, can sign out of any of those at any time.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
There's options there other than just, no, we're not doing it at all, and we're going to pay you more to do it.
No, I like that because, again, it gives you, the user, the power to decide how that's being used, right? It's not being dictated to you by Netflix. It's just I like the idea of pay a premium, decide how many logins you want for, whatever. You get up to 5 or 6 or whatever. There's a family plan. However Spotify does it. You can have up to X amount of people be on this thing, and then that's what you get. And then when that's, if you reach it, great. If you don't, so be it. Whatever, it's fine. Then you just get to do it. You get to don't have to physically. Yeah. That's the stuff that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Is you have to physically be tied to this IP address, and if you stray,
which is bizarre.
Yeah,
because what you said before, it doesn't make sense. Even because it sounds like to have multiple accounts, basically you have to have multiple accounts. You make your account for your IP address, and then to have another account, you have to pay the $750 or whatever. But that is just at that point, that is just another Netflix account. Yeah. So like you said, when Natalie goes to college and you guys want to use your Netflix account, she just has to have her own Netflix account. If you guys continue to pay for it or whatever, if you're paying $8 for a Netflix account, just pay the $10 and it could be her own Netflix account.
Yeah, right.
So it doesn't make any sense to differentiate it like that, even if it is still based off of your IP address still, or if it's not, if it's based off whatever internet she's on. Yeah. Then why wouldn't she just have her own Netflix account under her own email address? Why would it have to go through you guys at all?
Yeah, I get stuck on the fact that this feels like an old school approach. Imagine Natalie goes to college, she has roommates, and they're like, all right, we're going to get Netflix. And as, a house or whatever, they're doing their Netflix, but someone has to be kind of the main controller of the account. Right. And so when it's done, they can...
Yeah, it feels old. It feels backwards.
Yeah, it feels very strange. I don't know. I don't get it. So right now, short term for me, I'm whatever. It's not really going to affect me unless I misunderstand what this is. And Jill and I share the same account, but so I can't imagine that would be a problem because probably it is not what it is. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes in the future. I'm also concerned because if this makes even 5 cents, these other streaming services are going to be all over it. They're going to do the exact same thing. Netflix is basically taking the plunge, and they're going to give it a try. But if this makes is remotely successful, the other streaming services are going to do the exact same thing, and they're going to come cracking down because they want to get that money.
Yeah, which would really suck.
Because that's the thing is people are like, well, I'll just go to another streaming service. But if all the streaming services are doing it, then... Again, I think that just restricts, people aren't going to be, that makes the competition even stiffer in my opinion.
Right.
Because
you have to choose what one you are like loyal to.
Yeah.
And that sucks because
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I just want the whole point of this is to have access to everything. The reason why we share passwords is, again, I'm paying for the stuff that I want directly, but then say the one fucking thing that I want to watch is on Hulu and I don't have Hulu. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, hey buddy, you have Hulu. I want to watch this thing. Can I snag your Hulu?
Yeah.
And that's all it is. That's literally all it is. I am paying for my way into the majority of the stuff that I want. I'm paying for my platform. And then I'm just dipping my toes for the other stuff.
It's weird because I feel like when you put it that way, that's where it starts getting murky for me. Because if anyone's listened to this before, they're like, Doug, you're being a hypocrite, because this is the kind of stuff I would rail on before about piracy, in that, my big thing was like, oh, do you want to watch that show? Well, then you got to pay for that show. Oh, you don't want to pay for that show? Then you don't get to watch that show. And that's kind of how I've approached things. Like, I've never had Hulu or anything. There's been occasional things that pop up on there. I'm like, oh, it's on Hulu. I'm not gonna pay for Hulu because it's just another thing, and I don't think I'm gonna use it that much. And that is the danger nowadays. They have goddamn businesses, there's services and apps that you download that help you manage your subscriptions.
Yeah.
Because that's the bad thing, is everything's a subscription nowadays. And it's a great business.
A free trial and you forget.
Yeah. Or you sign up because you want to watch that one show and you're like, well, that'll be back in a year. Mm-hmm. And then you still say subscribe. Like, I can't say how long we say we subscribe to Apple TV, or Apple Plus or whatever it is. And I never watched a single goddamn show on there. Mm-hmm. Joe watched a couple things, and finally, I just canceled it because I'm like, we're not using this. Like, I got rid of Showtime at one point because Joe was really into some shows on Showtime. I'm like, we're not using this app. Like, shut it down. Like, how much money are we throwing away? But because everything is a subscription, it's like that stuff adds up over time. So if you're gonna maybe raise the barriers to this sort of stuff, it's just going to make this even more important that you have the best quality content that people are going to want to be willing to pay for. And Netflix has a lot of content. I mean, they have a lot of great shows on there. I mean, they have a lot of great IPs that I like and things like that. So I will stay with them for the time being because, hell, just today I rewatched the animated Witcher show, The Nightmare of the Wolf. Great movie. I really enjoyed it. I was like, at some point I want to rewatch Arcane again. That's such a great show. I enjoy the Witcher series. I enjoy Stranger Things. There's a lot of, there's even some Netflix straight up movies that I enjoy. There's one called The King, starring Timothée Chalamet. Like, so good. Like, it's such a great film. Like, I genuinely enjoy that stuff. But, you have to make the content that is worth watching. That people really want to. Sandman. How can I forget about Sandman? Yeah. And honestly, in my opinion, the company that continuously makes really good content is HBO. I feel like HBO for decades has been killing it. They keep making really good shows. That's their thing. I mean, Last of Us is just dominating right now.
Week after week.
It's all people are talking about. And that is what these execs get off to. That's what makes their dicks hard, is the people are talking about it. Episode 3 of Last of Us was just it was the climax that everyone wanted, like from the production side. They're like, they won't stop talking about it. Like, it's because that's also what I heard as a metric for Netflix shows. It's not just is the viewership high, is the buzz enough.
Yeah.
They want people to be talking about it. They want that what's the word? Zeitgeist. They want the cultural zeitgeist where people are just talking about it. It's so ingrained in the culture that people are just all about it. It's not,
which is so interesting because everybody's internet is different. Everybody's online experience is different, and so I'm looking at like Alice in Borderlands, and that show has 2 or 3 seasons now. Like, just started a new season. And I watched the first fucking episode of that show, and I was like, "This is dog shit. I cannot watch this." And I hear people talking about it. I know one person in a different Discord that's like raving about Alice in Borderland, and I'm like, okay, like I guess it hits a target demographic. That's the thing. If you just pump so much shit out like Netflix does, not all of it has to be quality because everybody likes something.
That's true.
And And I'm the same. I'm kind of the same way. Like there is definitely shit that I like that is dog shit. There is stuff that I like. There's things that I'm very easy to entertain. I've said this on the show multiple times, but I'm the easiest.
What's an example of something that you know is dog shit?
Man, I mean, I like Batman versus Superman. Like, I watched that movie and I was like, that was fun. I liked it. I hold it to scrutiny. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a dog shit movie, but like, I enjoyed watching it. I think of the two movies I have ever watched, I think there has only been two movies, maybe three that I've ever watched that I was like, no, that sucks. Okay, so it is three. Suicide Squad, Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I didn't watch the other one, and The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. That movie fucking sucked. And every other film or movie or TV show I've ever seen, I've pretty much like been able to walk out of it and at least have some sort of enjoyment. Very obviously there's other people like me out there who just like everything, who can just engage with any content and get something out of it, who just binge Netflix because it's Netflix. You just let the next thing play.
I know you and I know Jared, so there's two. So I just love to enjoy things, and I think that's a real talent unto itself to be able to go and just, because for me nowadays it's time. Like it's a bit of a time investment for me to do to like commit to watching something. So I consider that before I watch something. I'm like, is this going to be worth my time? And if it's not, now I feel like it was more so pre-streaming. In case if you can't watch this, Noah just gave like a shaka because Seth just said, "Is Noah a content slut?" It's like he's a content slut.
Visual gag for chat.
Yeah. Before when it's like the only thing you could really see was at the movies, like I'm like, this almost has to be a guarantee good time for me to go to the movies, because I'm not going to go to the movies just because, like, I don't have the time. Yeah. I can't do that. Where now I'm willing to take more risks of stuff on streaming because I'm like, why not? We'll give it a try. May or may not know something about it. Something may grab me. I'm like, whatever. I'll give it a whirl. I'm more flexible with that because I'll watch a lot of stuff like while I'm cooking and whatnot. So I do find some time for it, but I'm just not in the time. And I also realize my mood really dictates what I'm going to watch. Like sometimes I'm like, I want to watch something I've seen before. For some reason, I want to find a good movie that I've already seen before that's going to scratch an itch. And I'm like, I'm going to go through everything and see if I can find something that I've done. Sometimes I want to watch something new. I
kind of do that too. When basically me and my wife watch new stuff together and we watch old stuff separately.
That makes sense.
So it's like when she watches TV by herself, she pretty much like reruns Avatar, Gilmore Girls, and Grey's Anatomy. And then I pretty much like, I'm on a fucking Family Guy rewatch right now.
Okay.
Which, and I'm probably going to do South Park next. And this is TikTok. I don't like either of these shows, but they just scratch an itch that's like this background noise that I could like, that sometimes a joke hits and I'm like, that was worth it. That's worth 3 episodes of fucking nonsense garbage for like this one good joke that stands the test of time. But no, there's definitely biases in it too, where I'm like, I've seen enough episodes at this point to know that it's not for me, but like Grey's Anatomy, for an example. I can't say that it's bad, but I can say that I won't enjoy watching it.
Sure.
And so like that's a line that I have to draw, where it's like there are certainly things that I have watched that I didn't enjoy, but I can't necessarily say that they weren't good. Like, at the very least, still see the value in that thing, with the exception of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Suicide Squad, and The Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I got to pause right now because Seth said he's on a hardcore Korra, like the Legend of Korra rewatch, and it's kind of grown to the point where he's liking it more than original. Shut up, Seth. Shut up.
There are some good plot points, and there's also some dog shit plot points. Season 2 of Korra is a roller coaster because Season 2 basically should not exist, with the exception of the original Avatar storyline that happens like for 3 episodes in the middle of Season 2. That's the only thing that, like, Season 2 is gone. The rest of the show pretty much holds up. Season 3 is pretty good. Season 1 is pretty good. But
I agree. Season 3 is pretty good. I thought Season 4 was it's fine. I feel like the overall story of the original, like, I feel like you can't beat it. Like, the 3 seasons, 3 books. It's so good. Now, I would also argue that the original Avatar is also very much for kids, especially the early episodes. Whenever I've recommended it to people, I'm like, listen, you got to get through about halfway of season 1, because otherwise you're like, this is just a kid's show. I'm like, yes, stick with it, and it'll grow on you, and you'll start to see the transition. And by the time you get to season 3, you're like, holy shit, this is one hell of a show.
Yeah. I do think that season 3 and 4 of Korra managed to recover from how dog shit season 2 was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they jumped the shark a bit near the end of season 4.
I agree.
It was kind of rough, and I think that like they were setting up this villain really well, and then it just kind of got too big for its britches.
Yeah.
It was tough, but
yeah, I didn't feel like there was a lot of worthwhile payoff. Again, it's hard to top the classic hero's journey from the first season. Like, I wouldn't say it was as bad as Star Wars as far as like winks and nods to things.
Yeah.
But there were some things where it was really cool. Like, Seth mentions when Toph reappears. It's pretty cool. Spoiler alert. And some of that stuff. And because I think that was the coolest thing about Korra was like, well, how has the world changed since Aang in the first series of Avatar? It's like, what's the world like, and who's still around, who's not, what are those connections? But then some of it also, it felt like it was they were trying a little too hard with some of it. And I don't know, like the first Avatar is just like it just felt really good. It was strong, the characters were solid, and I think it was just a tall order to try and recapture that. I think it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. It's just it's not as solid for me as the original. So
it is a solid continuation of the story. I almost would have wanted it to be like a book first.
Yeah.
Like if they could have done like a comic series and then based that like the new series on that, rather than going something like just going and doing it and like making this plot as they're making it, because then you get stuff like that. If you have something that's like tested and proved that you can adapt for the new medium, then you have a hit basically.
Yeah.
Like you could what works and what doesn't work, what you can keep, you can get rid of. I don't know. I think I just didn't like General Kuvira at all.
Yeah.
I think there's something about like irredeemable monsters that like there's a difference between her and Zuko's sister, the main villain.
Oh yeah.
There's like a difference between her and like these two characters. One being like, one is just an irredeemable monster that I don't like looking at. Like I don't like the way she like presents herself. I don't like the character at all. Versus the other irredeemable monster that I really, really enjoy watching. And like she could like fuck up anything and everything, and I'll be like, yeah, that's awesome. And that character doesn't need any redemption or anything. Like she's perfect the way she is. Versus the other one where I'm like, I don't know. Like, yeah, you just do bad stuff and it's mean. Like I don't like it.
Yeah, it's funny because like the first season of Legend of Korra, I really enjoyed the villains in that because I love the idea of them taking away bending. Like that was really cool. I felt undercut because it's like we took Korra's bending away. It's like, and now it's back. Like it was like, I was like, what a bold move to be like, nope, he got you. Because it was this terrifying thing is like, what's going to happen? And then he gets you. But then I was like, oh shit, how is this going to affect things moving forward? What does that mean? But that was honestly, I felt like season 1 of Legend of Korra. I was like, I don't even know if this is for kids. Like this is some pretty intense shit. There's terrorists, there's, stuff like that going on and whatever. And I was super into that, and I appreciated, because also the ideology of those people, the idea that just because you can bend, you think you're better than everyone else. It's a class system. And I don't know, there was some intriguing stuff there for me on that. Yeah. But I'm with you. The sort of one note villain of like, I'm bad because someone's got to do it, Yeah,
I don't know. Because I think Korra had a litany of good villains.
Yeah.
But I just think that General Kuvira specifically didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's so funny because, like, yeah, they took away her bending in season 1, and then in season 2, we took away her bending again.
And the spirits are pissed. It's like, yeah, it's yeah. It didn't resonate as much with me as it did in obviously the first Avatar show. Like altogether, that stuff. I was like, there were so many. Natalie was literally just rewatching bits of this the other day, and it was like, as I was just in the kitchen doing something, I was listening. I'm like, what's she watching? I'm like, oh shit, she's watching Avatar. Like I understood, I knew exactly the episode. I knew exactly what was happening. I'm like, oh, this is fucking dope. And just, there's so many just like, there are some down, like season 2 in Ba Sing Se, there's some episodes where you're like, dear God, move it along. Like, we get it. Like, let's keep this going. But in general, the show just like, it goes. We know what I kind of like about it from a storytelling perspective is where this is going to end up. We know it from the first few episodes. Aang has to fight the Fire Lord. Like, that's where this is going to go, and he has to learn the stuff along the way. And I kind of appreciated that because most of the time I'm like, where are we going to go? I don't know. This time I'm like, I know where we're going to go, and I can't wait for us to get there. And you enjoy the ride as it's happening. And I don't know. Honestly, that kids show is up there with some of the best storytelling.
Absolutely.
Like it's definitely in my top 3, like as far as like shows with like excellent storytelling. It's so good.
What's interesting too between season 1 and season 2, because not season 1 and season 2, but Avatar, Last Airbender, and Korra, is that Korra from season 1, 2, 3, 4, it kind of seems like a monster of the week. Like you have a villain of the season, versus Avatar where it's like Ozai is the villain. And then Zuko is like his taskmaster until he turns good, and then Azula is his taskmaster once Zuko fails. So it's still all Ozai, but it's like just them getting barraged by bounty hunters, basically.
Yeah.
And you get to learn these characters, and you get to learn like, okay, this is the big bad, and these are the people that work for the big bad, and we're gonna get to know them really, really well. Versus Korra, where it's like, this is the bad guy this time. 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 And the shows are very different in that it's like Avatar Aang is learning how to be the Avatar in a world that wants and needs the Avatar, versus Avatar Korra, who's learning how to be the Avatar in a world that hates and doesn't want the Avatar anymore. Mm-hmm. And there's politics, and there's all these crazy things that Korra has to deal with. And those moments of the show are great. Yeah. I really like the interpersonal things. I really like the world building and the lore, and I like Korra as a character.
Same.
But it's when they try to get Korra to do Avatar shit is when it kind of falls apart for me.
Agreed. Like, I don't know. There's a disconnect there, and I can't quite articulate what is. I think part of it is Monster of the Week. I've never enjoyed Monster of the Week. I've never enjoyed that stuff, and I think you're right with the world building. There's something really cool when you get to see Republic City, and you get to see like that arena game that they have, and how everyone's integrated, because everyone was so separated in Last Airbender, and now like people are like, the world has changed, it's adapted, it's evolved, and what are the new struggles and things like that. I think there was some really cool stuff to go in with that, but I was excited for where season 1, I'm like, where are these bad guys gonna end up? How's this? Maybe they're not the big bad, but maybe they play into it, because kind of, because like season 1 was these guys that don't believe in how the benders are, and season 3 had kind of a similar feel, right? Like, I can't remember all the specifics, but the main bad guy more or less was something along the lines of like, either we don't need the Avatar, or ideologically they were misaligned. Yeah, which I found very fascinating. Season 2 was, hey, spirit fight, like whoop-de-doo. And then season 4, it's like, hey, we've got this nationalistic person that's Nick. Yeah, I don't know. Like that just didn't fit for me as far as what was going on. So I don't know.
Korra had a lot of really great legs, and that is why I love the Avatar Legends role-playing game. And that's why this game, for real, guys, this game is fucking awesome. This Avatar tabletop RPG is so fucking awesome, because I've taken so much from Korra, especially in the current campaign that I'm running. Let's go! Because basically, I basically broken down at the very, very base level, my campaign that I'm running right now is basically, one, what if Kyoshi ended the world? And then what if Korra's season 1, like, big bad, basically just an anti-bender activist, became the president of
Hmm.
the world, and basically became like became like the vision of what the people thought the Avatar was supposed to be, like the balance between people. And that is something that General Kuvira could have been. I'm taking a lot of these ideas and doing what I would do in those instances, which is what's great about making your own shit, is because you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so it's so strange to me that they had so many good ideas, and then just like so many of the big points missed.
I think that I agree with that so much, in that, God, you have such a wonderful, rich world. There's a lot to work with. There's a lot to play with. But then the antagonist just really fell short a lot of the times. Or at least they didn't get... Either they fell short straight up, or they didn't get the time that they needed to really go. Because what if those first season bad guys were allowed to hang in there? You know what I mean? Like, maybe they get defeated, but they're still around the threat of this, and maybe they start an additional uprising throughout the world, not just Republic City, but they, what if word spreads that, oh shit, did you hear? Avatar lost their powers for a little bit, and these people were able to take it away. Maybe the Avatar isn't as powerful, or maybe we don't need the Avatar. Like, it creates this effect. It's almost like My Hero Academia, if anyone's into that show, where the symbol of peace, all that sort of stuff. Basically the fabric of society is shattered because there's been this stretch of like peace and stability for so long, and it gets shaken. The ideology gets shaken in people's minds and the culture. And I think you could have applied that here, where all of a sudden everyone relies on the Avatar because, like, this is the thing we need. We've had it for generations. This centuries. This being has been here. Then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. We're challenging the tradition. I've always enjoyed the idea of challenging the tradition in real life, particularly challenging the tradition, but also in the idea of kind of taking that to this, fictitious world of, I feel like we can apply that to anything that we do. Of what is it that we rely on, that we need, that we think we need, that all of a sudden goes, no, you don't. And it just throws things into chaos in such a fascinating way, because Korra is not inherently bad, right? Mm-hmm. But is the world okay, if not better, without the Avatar? Does that world exist? It's almost like Batman, right? Batman creates problems because Batman beats up the low-level mob and stuff like that. It creates a vacuum for crazier people to insert themselves and become the villains. So I've always loved that about Batman, is Gotham better off without him? Because it seems like he made things worse. So you can almost apply that here too. Like, without the Avatar, can the world be okay? Is their job still needed in this modern age? And boy, that would have been a lot of fun to sort of, because maybe those guys inspire other groups, and maybe it leads into that season 3 villains and those people. And imagine the culmination of Benders versus, like, you've got the anti-Avatar with Team Avatar, and what that ultimately culminates. Imagine 4 seasons of that. I'm in it. Like, I'm in it all the way.
Yeah, and that was something that was charming about The Last Airbender, is that it was one continuous story. You're following this plot thread throughout the entire thing, versus the very 4 disconnected stories with this main character being like the one constant. Because there's plenty of times in the show when it's like time passes and all the other characters that we've grown to love are doing different things. They're growing away from Team Avatar, whereas Korra is just continuously struggling.
Mm-hmm.
She's locked into this role as the Avatar where she can't change. She has to like continue to try to be better and save the world and be the balance between the spirits of the people and hope and the elements and all that. Whereas like her friends, who were kids when they met, grow up through the period of them knowing each other in season 1 to season 4, and they get jobs. They go do different shit. They meet other people, like, and so it's like she ends where she started. Of course, she grew. She has an arc. She becomes a better Avatar, but she goes from being the Avatar to being the Avatar, whereas everybody else around her, who we are not the focal point of our story, even though they are essential, they're main characters, are not the focal point of our story, they all get arcs. They all grow up. They all change, and they go off.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very interesting because we don't see any of that in Avatar or The Last Airbender. In The Last Airbender, everybody's together. It takes place in a very, very short amount of time. It takes place like over the course of less than a year.
Yeah.
And so we are constantly seeing what these characters are doing other than shitting and like going from point A to point B.
And what a missed opportunity. Am I right? I mean, if there's anything we really needed in that show, it was like, hey, I want to see how this bison shits. I want to see what Aang looks like when he shits, because he's doing something silly and goofy. He goes, he's got diarrhea. He summons that little vortex, spins around, is like, wee, spraying it everywhere.
Gross.
I think that's a clip. I'm gonna mark down that time. I think that's mark it, clip it, send it. Aang shits. There we go. Awesome. Beautiful moment. What I love about live streaming the podcast is we didn't plan on talking about this, but one comment from a chatter from Seth sent us down this road, and I fucking love this conversation. This is what I love about this podcast is we pull on a thread and we just go. And it was great. So
at the end of the day, I got to plug the Avatar Legends tabletop role playing game. And that's all that matters. Everybody should fucking play it. It's awesome.
Speaking of shitting in fictitious worlds, I heard about this, Seth. He says apparently part of the Harry Potter universe is that before they integrated toilets, the wizards just shat wherever they stood. I heard this.
And then they magicked it away.
I can't confirm it, but I'm pretty sure. I think there's a reason. Like, 'cause I think I saw a TikTok or someone said J.K. Rowling basically painted herself into a corner where there will never be a Harry Potter story that happens before a certain time because all they did was just shit wherever they were. Mm-hmm. Supposedly that's canon.
Before plumbing. And they just are like, shit. And they probably had their fucking house elves clean it up or something, Yeah. Yeah, it's Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, let's talk about it. No, you seem real pumped about talking about this. I'm totally kidding.
We don't have to do that.
We don't have to. Everyone else has already covered this. I don't think we need to. But
yeah, I think everybody knows our stance on the trans community, and we're good.
We're for them. We love trans folks. Pro trans folks. Pro trans rights. Well, I think it's time to transition to something a little more practical. So let's do the thing.
Are you allowed to do that?
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Practical, 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 practical. Ask Practical Doug.
I don't know. That segue it really got me, man. I don't know.
There's no good way to do it. I was like, there's no good way to do it. It's time for me to talk about practical stuff. So in case you don't know, if this is your first time here witnessing this, there is a little practical Doug that lives inside my brain called Practical Doug. And he governs a lot of what I do on a day-to-day basis. And oftentimes I will rely on this Practical Doug to get me through situations. So I offer this tool to you and to others. So if you have a question, if you have a dilemma and you're like, I need some practical advice, all you got to do is ask Practical Doug. You want to get on this? Send us your practical questions at mindgappodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on our social media at mindgappodcast. Hashtag it as Ask Practical Doug. Or join our Discord, ask in there, or join us live on the podcast. And you can ask us questions on there, and perhaps they'll make it into the show. So normally Justin asks me this stuff and gets it up in advance, but he gets it up in advance because he's a big boy. But what I did is I'm a big fan of Am I the Asshole? This is one of my favorite things to cover because I love people that are just constantly, not constantly, but the people like, I need some help. And they're like, am I the asshole in this situation? I kind of need to know.
I might be an asshole. Could you tell me?
Yes.
If I am or not.
Here's my situation. Am I the asshole? And it tickles me all the time to sort of figure this stuff out. So I have an Am I the Asshole that's been pulled from Reddit, and which, by the way, sometimes those are super fucking serious, so I try to find the more silly ones. And this one really struck a chord with me in particular. So this is called Am I the asshole for confirming my mother-in-law's suspicion that I didn't want her in the kitchen while I cooked? So, here it goes. My mother-in-law is not a bad person, but she can be very difficult. My wife, Sarah, has learned to process these things with grace, which I appreciate. I am still learning, but I will get there, I hope. One of the ways she's difficult is that she has some manipulative tendencies. A very common tactic for her is to fake whine that she's not welcome here. I guess I'll go outside. With the obvious implication that we need to comfort her and tell her that she is welcome. Noah's face right there was priceless as he's like, ugh. In parentheses, he says, I suspect she has some abandonment issues. I'm not a therapist, so he's not going to comment on that. But again, my wife has learned to deal with this over her lifetime. It's just the way mom is, which is fine. I hate it, and it is manipulative garbage, but I might do the same thing. My wife and I bought our first home last year, so we hosted Christmas. This is my mother-in-law's first time being a guest instead of the host, so I knew we'd need to be patient with her. She's out of control of the situation. That's hard. Well, it was Christmas dinner cooking time. Our kitchen can be generously referred to as efficient, and I was cooking for 12 people while Sarah played host. And my mother-in-law found every excuse to park herself in my way as I was trying to roast a goose and make 5 sides. I had to ask her several times to move just to find space to chop. Finally, this exchange, recalled as exactly as I can, occurred. Hey, Mom, you can just go hang out in the living room with everyone else. I got this. Her. Oh, I get it. I'm not welcome here. Imagine this in fake drama tone. Me. Well, yeah, but I figured it would be rude to say it like that. I think she was mad I didn't play along because the facade dropped instantly. She said fine and went back to the other group. I didn't think much of it until she told Sarah this week that she was still mad at me. Am I the asshole?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So that is very clearly some bullshit from the mom. And I think at a certain point you just have to go along with it.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, because what are you going to do? Because it's not going to change their behavior if you don't. You're just going to make them feel bad. So it's like you've done nothing but let them know that like what they are doing is the right thing to do. You've enabled their behavior. Because now where they were playing, you're like, hey, I need you elsewhere. You can't be here. It's like, oh, I see. I'm not wanted. I get it. Okay. You're like, hey, you're not wanted. Go. It's like, okay, fine. I guess I'm not wanted. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not wanted. Please go. Okay, I'm gonna go then. Sure. Whatever you want. It's like, yes. Thank you. Goodbye. Mm-hmm. But and another thing, I get when I'm not wanted. Goodbye. Good day. But it's or maybe it kind of sounds like what happened here is it went from that like passive aggressive. Oh, I see when I'm not wanted. To okay, you've opened the floodgates. No, fuck you.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna treat me with immense amount of respect after I didn't do that to you, then I'm going to treat you with even less respect than I would normally. Mm-hmm. Because you're just supposed to do that with parents. If they treat you like shit, you have to turn the other cheek and treat them well. So it's because or they're going to emotionally manipulate you and make you feel bad and whatever. That's just how parents are, I guess. I don't know. And so it's like, are you going to open that opportunity to just make things worse? Or are you just going to say, no, it's okay. You can stay in here. Sorry. Love you. It's all good. It's all fine.
So is he the asshole? I don't think I understand.
Yeah, I guess. It's hard. It's hard because no, I don't think the guy's an asshole. But as far as this situation goes, as far as this social interaction goes, he is the asshole. He lost. He lost the game. Because the only way to win the game is to play, and he chose not to play. So, yes, he's the asshole.
I'm going to disagree with you, and here's why. This kind of hits a little close to home right now for me too. B also asked a question in the chat, and we'll get to that in just a second. So for me personally, purely practical, I've seen lots of movies, lots of TV shows. There's romanticize this idea of cooking in the kitchen with someone else. Like it's a very romantic thing, cooking together. To that I say, no, get the fuck out of the kitchen. Get out of my way. I'm cooking. Go somewhere else. Do something else. Very few things will set me off. Then I'm in the middle of cooking and the dog comes in, gets between my legs. The cat is meowing, wants food. Natalie comes in, wanting to show me something. Like I'm just like, get out! Like I understood why old world parents used to beat their kids whenever they would come into the kitchen while they were cooking. They're just like, I will beat you with this wooden spoon. Get out of my way. So to that extent,
parents do. I mean, it's not so far off,
right? So to that extent, even in my own kitchen, which is fine. I think it's normal. Like I feel like I run out of space quite often, especially if other people are in the way. So if this person is describing it as efficient, which leads me to believe that there's not a lot of space, if you do any sort of cooking, you should respect that space. And you should be able to come in and say, hey, do you need anything? No? Cool. I'll get out of your way. So for the mother-in-law to come in multiple times while this person is trying to cook, right? Trying to chop, cooking for 12 people, doing the goose plus 5 sides, like let them do their thing, get out of their way. So for this, again, if this transpires as they said, they're like, hey, you know what? You can just go hang out in the living room. I got this. Like that is the polite way of saying, hey, listen, there's not enough space in here. I need you to leave. And for the mother-in-law to be like, I guess I'm not welcome. And for them to basically just turn that thing on and be like, yeah, well, I mean, yeah. And I just didn't want to say it like that because it'd be rude. I feel like that was them hitting their tipping point. And I put that on the mother-in-law for bringing him to that point. Now, to your point, should he have taken it to that point? Debatable. For me, I would defend him and be like, get the fuck out of the kitchen. Beat it. Get out of there. You're in the way. Okay? I cannot stand people that are in the way at the grocery store, people who just want to park their fucking grocery cart right in the middle of the aisle and then go wandering around and looking at stuff. Like the fact that people don't have any fucking spatial awareness drives me nuts. So if I'm trying to cook, especially on something like a holiday where there's a lot of stress and you want everything to go really well, you want people to enjoy themselves, it's the first time in your new home, you're hosting, like there's a lot of pressure there for this person to kind of be in there and be like, I'm in the way, oh, I guess I'm not wanted, get the fuck out of my kitchen, bitch. Like get out there.
Totally 100% agree.
And what I would say is I would use this as an opportunity to call out this behavior, be like, if she's still mad, then let's talk about this. I'll be like, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry that I upset you. I was not trying to be rude. Here's what was going on at the time. My intention was not to be rude, but I needed you to leave because I needed the space. And moving forward, this sort of dynamic is not going to work for me. Like, it's not going to fly. Like, I don't like this. I don't appreciate it. I don't communicate that well. I'm not saying I don't like you. It's just that's not going to work for me. So whatever we've done up to this point has been polite. I want to straighten this out. Like I want to straighten this out. I want to make sure that moving forward, like if I need to communicate, tell me the best way to communicate to you. You know what I mean? Like open it up, try to make it a dialogue and try to explain the boundaries that need to exist there. Because if you just play the game, this is going to happen again and again and again, and may get worse and worse and worse.
Definitely.
That's that. And so I'm in the camp of, this is gross. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I've heard this in the corporate America where like, name it so you can claim it. Call it out, say what's going on so that you can work through it. So
alternatively, that is how you get 2 family Christmases.
That is true, which I would say dope.
Where they say, no, you are in the wrong because I need to be able to do whatever I want because I have power over you as you came from my loins. So I'm going to do Christmas at my house. If you want to continue doing Christmas at your house, there will not be any overlap. which if I'm picturing this woman in a same way that I know other women that in my life, that is maybe how that would happen.
You know what? I also know a particular woman in my life who would act the same way. And to that, I'd say, go enjoy your Christmas by yourself. because I'm almost
Does it make
40
you
years.
feel bad for not coming?
Yeah, because like at this stage in my life, I have no room for that kind of bullshit. Like, I did that for the longest time. Now I'm like, why are we doing this? This is a facade. This is a waste of emotional energy. Why are we doing it? Don't bother. Like, let's just look. Do you want to be here? Yes or no? No? Okay, then don't come. Like, you don't have to be here. And same thing. Like, do I want to be at your place? No. Will I do it out of being polite? Sure. But if we're gonna draw lines in the sand, let's just be honest with each other, because it's gonna send me down another road. I can't let myself go too far. I don't think just because you spawned me from your loins that I owe you anything. And vice versa. Growing up, yes, you should be a parent. You should protect me. You should feed me. You should provide for me. You should teach me. But at some point, we're going to be peers. And the dynamic is going to shift. And how that dynamic is handled, that shift is handled, it will determine the relationship for the rest of your life. Because at some point, in my opinion, they should go from child to teenager, to young adult, to peer, where your parent is still your parent, but you are also a fully functioning adult if they've done their job correctly, and you also will be allowed to disagree. They can't order you around anymore. They can't be like, hey, go do this. You'd be like, no, I pay my own taxes. I don't rely on you for any sort of food or financial aid, so no, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. And then how they handle that dynamic is crucial, because in my life right now, it's not going well. And I'm at peace with that, because I've done what I can, and I'm like, balls in your court. You do whatever you want to do. But so I guess this one kind of struck me a little bit harder in that I don't appreciate the manipulation that's going on here. And for someone to basically call it out after it's what seems like they're trying to be nice, they're trying to be polite, and the person just is the reason why it got tipped over, and then they're mad at him. I'm like, fuck you. Like, this is a greater problem. So to what extent, you're right. They lost that battle, but there's a war to be fought here, and the war should be to get on a more neutral playing ground where we call out what we don't like about the situation in order to help each other. Because if there's a true dialogue that can happen here, where this guy can talk to his mother-in-law and they can actually talk to each other, listen to each other, hear each other out, and find a way to move forward. Unlikely, yes. But if they can do that, that will actually strengthen the relationship, because they'll understand their boundaries.
True,
but I'm sure the mother-in-law's never been talked to like this before. Yeah. She's just been giving her away. It's the whole, do I look fat in this kind of bullshit, like where they want that validation. They need some of that sort of stuff. Yeah. So odds are this person's not going to change their behavior, but I still say it's worth the fight, because the other thing is to submit and just put up with it, and you're going to explode at some point anyway. So you might as well try to address it now. So I'm saying this guy's not the asshole. For the long term.
At a certain point, that is also an extreme reaction. I think in any world, a regular human being would just see, oh, I'm in this person's space, or like they asked me to leave, whatever. All right, I'll go, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I really don't think it would be that deep for anybody in any situation, except for like this person and people like that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to hold my stance that this guy is the asshole for not just letting it be. But you're valid, and I fully 100% agree with everything you said.
I respect what you're saying, because it's short-term peace is what it is. And the short term, it keeps the peace, but that peace is on borrowed time. Yeah. Eventually, the peace will collapse, and it will come over the dumbest thing. The smallest thing will be like, it will just go to nuclear city, and there's no coming back from it. So for the potential of this becoming for the potential of being able to fix this relationship, I'm saying no, he's not the asshole, if he can fall through with it. Because I also believe in him being able to stand up for himself, just because I don't believe in a parent just having power over you because they birthed someone. Congratulations.
I don't believe in it, but I will
not do
anything to change it. Or
Right. It's real. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And real quick, B asked a question in the chat. They say, Doug, I want to put together a poetry book manuscript. Got any tips on keeping your nose to the grindstone tackling a big project? That is a great question. I'm better at giving advice than following my own advice here. So here's what I would say. Carve out a little bit of time every single day. And you decide how much you want to commit every day. Is it 15 minutes? Is it 30 minutes? Is it an hour? Is it 2 hours? Find some time every single day and make a commitment to do that. To put on focus on your phone, close out everything, apps, whatever, just get out exactly what you need. And for those, that set amount of time, be focused and work on it. And I would recommend maybe keeping it 15 minutes to 30 minutes because those small bits will help progress you along. I think there's a misconception when it comes to writing too, that people are like, all right, I'm sitting down for the next half day. I'm hammering this out. Okay, if you're Stephen King, cool, you can do that. But I think for a lot of people, it's just getting what's in your head out onto paper. And if you can commit to that and doing that every single day a little bit, you're making progress. And that progress is going to add up over time. And before you know it, you're going to have your stuff done and you're going to be in a good way. So
my advice on the matter would be sit down and do not eat, sleep, or do anything else until that thing is done and you have released it. Because then it will never get done. And you'll start the next project.
Hey, that's also good. Commitment. Shit yourself. It doesn't matter. Get it done. Get it done. All right. All right. That's been Ask Practical Doug. Thank you. Thank you, B, for the question. And thanks for going through that with me, Noah. That was a fun one. I really enjoyed that. All right, well, let's talk about recommendations. Noah, what would you recommend people check out this week?
Ooh, well, I definitely recommend moving into a house and buying a car.
Woo!
But pop culture-wise, I would recommend My Ordinary Life. Is an anime that until B told me about it recently, and we watched some clips from it, I was under the impression this was like a full-on slice-of-life anime. Actually, at one point, we were showing this clip of it was the principal fighting the deer in the Discord at one point, and that was circulating for a little bit. But it's not like a slice of life anime that follows like characters doing stuff. It's a sketch comedy show.
Oh, interesting.
Like basically each episode is 25 minutes ish, and it's just bits.
Okay.
And it's awesome. It's hilarious. It is actually peak comedy, and we've been having a blast. There's so many visual gags. There's so many just like crazy dialogue gags. It's hilarious, and I would absolutely 100% recommend it.
Okay, My Ordinary Life is what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I've always appreciated a good anime recommendation. I've got to have people recommend that stuff to me because I've tried on my own. I'm like, well, try this, and been so upset and disappointed by what I've watched that I'm like, I can't do that again.
And so far, it's pretty kid friendly too. So I mean,
you know what? I don't want to watch it then. So no, no. I mean, anything I can watch with Natalie is always a plus. So I'm happy to. That would be good, especially if
you want my Crunchyroll password.
I have my own. Thank you very much. I have my own. Thank you very much.
Passwords.
Thank you very much. My brother offered me his Crunchyroll years ago, and I was like, no, thank you. I'm good. I would like to recommend an older film. Well, older. I mean, God, it's hard to say. Oh, time is a mystery when you think about it. But I just
The Phantom Menace.
Well, it may have come out not too far from that. 28 Days Later, the Danny Boyle film, basically kind of like a zombie film, starring Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, Brendan Gleeson, Christopher Eccleston, and other folks. It's a great classic, in my opinion. I remember actually seeing that movie in the theater when I was in college. It came out, and I remember just being blown away by it, and such a great zombie. It seems like a disservice to call it a zombie film, but it's a zombie film. It involves people being infected. They're just not undead or whatever. They just get filled with rage. And I love the way that it's filmed. It's filmed on like a DSLR camera, so it's got a real grainy texture to it. And there's some really cool shots. I love the way that it's edited in a lot of different ways. It really has this very real, visceral feel to it. And I don't know, it's a great film. And I just recently rewatched it, and I'm like, God damn, this is a good movie. So 28 Days Later, I'm going to rewatch I saw the sequel one time and was very disappointed in it. And I haven't watched it since, so I'm going to try and find that when it comes back on streaming. I'm like, I'm going to give that one a whirl again. I'll probably still be disappointed, but I'd love to try it again. But
is that a 28 Days Later 2? Or
it's 28 weeks later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good question.
The 29th day after.
Have you seen 28 Days Later?
No, but I am aware of it. It has like a really crazy opening credits, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't know if I call it crazy. I mean, it's an opening. I mean, there's definitely some intense scenes in the film, but no,
I'm thinking of maybe Shaun of the Dead. But 28 Days Later, also have heard of it, also do know about it.
Yeah,
I've not seen it though.
You should check it out. I think if you're in a zombie mood, I think it's worthwhile. It's a good film. It's a good flick.
The Last of Us is getting in on the.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably what prompted it. Watching Last of Us, I'm like, you know what? 28 Days Later kind of hopped into my brain. I'm like, I want to watch that, and it's so good. It's such a great film. But all right, well, before we wrap up here, Noah, one more time, let everyone know where they can find you, what they should check out from your stuff, promote your shit.
You can find me on pretty much every platform at Noah Reno. That is ATNOAHRENO. On Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, others probably. So if you're interested in wacky, funny, silly content from your own goofy gunch boy, then that would be the best place to engage. any of the Instagram, I post pictures of my dog and food. So I don't know if Instagram is the place to go, but YouTube and Twitch for sure, because I make cool stuff there. You can also hire me on Fiverr. That's Fiverr with 2 R's. And I make things for people. So for the record, that kind of stuff.
The animated intro for this show was from Noah Reno. So way back in the day. Yeah. So very cool stuff. So definitely check him out. Definitely check him out on Twitch. Give him a follow. Turn on the bell, letting you know when he's live. He's a lot of fun to watch. It's really good. I highly recommend it. So support your boy. Follows are free. Okay, you can do it. And also, speaking of following and stuff, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, youtube.com/mindgappodcast. Check us out there. We have all of our playlists put together from all our different segments and fun stuff. Check out our shorts. Our shorts have been doing pretty well. Just getting regular views and stuff. Just a nice little clips from the show. Also clips from our video game streams. You know, the Red Dead ones are pretty good. Noah,
folks like these characters.
Noah and Seth, definitely predominantly in those. They're very fun. So go check those out. It's a good time. You can also check us out on all social media at MindGap Podcast. And be sure to check out our Discord, check out our Patreon, check out our merch. And if you're doing the audio version of this, wherever you're listening to this, be sure to rate and review. You can find us on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Good Pods, Podbean, Pod Your Mom, all that sort of stuff. It's there, so you find it, listen to it, rate it, review it, all that good stuff. We really, really appreciate it. And also, don't forget to check out 2east8th.com and all their social media, plus loveandimprovfilm.com for all the updates on Justin and Drew's feature film, Love and Improv, that will be coming out in the future. Looking forward to that coming to fruition and all that good stuff. So, Noah, thanks again for coming to be here, dude. It's always so much fun chatting with you. You're a delightful human being.
I always say it every time, but I love being here. I love conversing. I love chatting.
Yeah, just chatting.
Chatting, talking.
Just talking to each other. It's so good. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. This guy
Seth fucking called me out in chat.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't blow up my spot.
Yeah, Noah's always posting the Overwatch news. Nice. You posting Overwatch news right now, buddy? Huh? You doing it?
Well, I gotta do my job.
All right.
My job is to post Overwatch news.
Yeah,
and there
literally
was
a minute
news.
ago, here he is posting the news. There you go. All right, that's cool. Hey, you know what? I didn't know, and no one else knew, so congratulations. Way to go. So with that being said, I want to say, Noah, thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Doug, thank you.
And to Chad, I say thank you. To listeners, thank you. And you all have a dandy fucking week. Oh, Noah. Busted. Busted.
Am I in trouble?
You're not in trouble.
I don't want to be in trouble.
I didn't know. I just think that's amazing that you're just like...
Well, you're doing the spiel.
Bye,
I got a
B.
notification on Twitter.
B, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for asking a question of Practical Doug. That's very cool. Appreciate you being here. You're the best.
I hope my answer helps you.
And Seth, thank you for being here and getting us on Avatar. Always a pleasure. Appreciate it. That was such a fun conversation. I felt very passionate about it, so thank you very much. It's always good. Yeah, so no video game stream this weekend. I will be out of town, but we will recommence the following week. Supposedly, it's been floated maybe an Overwatch stream that following week.
I think there definitely should be some sort of community game.
Yes.
Whether it be Overwatch, Left 4 Dead, maybe a tabletop. Something
You're
we can
right.
get
We're
everybody
overdue.
on.
We're overdue for something. I think Overwatch, with it being season 3 and everything like that, and I just realized I barely played season 2, so, spent the coins and barely played it, so way to go. That could be fun. We'll find something fun to do. We'll get everyone involved, and then at some point we got to head back to Red Dead. And then, also we got to maybe try the Dark and Darker. I don't know if there's a timeline on that, so maybe, I don't know,
Probably is, but I think 3 weeks is probably safe if we wanted to plan. Well, I take that back. I'm going to be out of the country in the first week of March. So.
Oh, shit. You going to Italy?
I'm going to Italy.
He's going to Italy.
Honeymoon.
All right.
So I don't know. I mean, you're out this coming Friday. So then next Friday, I'll definitely be here for that. But then whatever the next following 2 Fridays are, I'll be out.
Yeah.
But,
so it'll be first 2 weeks of March.
You're allowed to do stuff without me. I don't have to be there. No
I
obligation.
I know. We'll probably have to say we were there too for one of those weeks.
Oh no, I'll watch. I'll definitely watch. I'll be there in that sense.
I was like, okay, yeah. Maybe we try for Dark and Darker if it's still available. Maybe that's the time frame, if that's still out there, we can give it a try, give it a whirl, see how it goes.
Sure.
That could be fun. And then we'll find some time to do some other stuff. I just, definitely got to get some community games back up and running again. But you also got to make do with what you got as far as how things work with timelines and shit like that. Seth goes, we need to do an Uno night too. As much fun as we had playing poker in the cowboy game. Listen, I fucking love Uno. I just wish the tabletop stuff is just janky. It's janky. Yeah. It doesn't look good. So I don't know if we can find.
Well, you can buy Uno on Steam.
I have it. It's an Ubisoft game, but you can only play up to 4 players. So, which kind of sucks. So
you only need Gilk, Augie, and Andy.
That's true. And then
for an Uno night.
That's true. That could be fun if we do that as our characters. We pretend that we're in the cowboy game, but we're just playing Uno, but we're actually just playing Uno.
Well, that's how it starts. So we have to have them start in Red Dead. We travel to a tavern, sit down, and then transition to Uno, and then stay there.
I love it. They're like, all right, let's go check out this new game. It's called Uno. Oh man, is this some? Man, what kind of game is this? I don't trust it. I don't trust the name.
Just came out.
Just came out. Let's check. Someone said this game was just invented. And we sit down and we play. And we switch over and play Uno the whole time. Yes. That would be fun. I fucking love Uno, dude. I could play that.
I fucking love Uno.
I fucking love Uno. And because of that, Natalie loves it too. So, I love to play Sweet and Spicy at some point too. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good one too.
Well, that's the kids' version. I don't know what the adult version is.
Sweet and Spicy is just called Spicy.
Spicy.
And it's pretty much the same game.
Okay, gotcha. Just bullshit, basically. That's what it's called. Did you ever play the card game Bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically that.
We called it bologna sandwich.
Bologna sandwich is what we called it. Yeah, Natalie's been wanting to play that every night this week, or like the last week, and Jill and I just are not in the headspace to play. She's like, "Do you guys want to play Sweet and Spicy after dinner?" It's like, no, I'm not really in the mood to lie and try to tell if you're lying. So we're like, we promise you this weekend when we go on our trip, like we will play then. We promise. So she's been real bummed out. But also, and this was to Seth too, she's been randomly just playing different games on the Switch. And the other day, I'm like, what are you playing? She's playing Super Mario Odyssey on the Switch. Nice. I'm like, nice. And she's just having a blast. And this is where I get my own way with Natalie in games, is I just assume that she's not ready to play a game because I can't fathom her playing the game the way that it's supposed to be played, but she can still just have fun playing it the way that she wants to play it.
Yeah,
so
when I was 5, I was playing like Spyro the Dragon and like old Sega, like Sonic and shit on, and it's a little different because it's different versus like holding left and pressing the jump button versus like be able to do anything and reading dialogue and stuff. But like, I don't know, I was playing the Pokemon games by 7, and like I'm like by myself, and it's like, sure, I didn't ever beat them, but like I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was learning attacks and stuff. It's like, that's a universal language, being able to press buttons and get a result.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, Seth says Josie spent 2 years collecting bugs and horses in Zelda. I told Jill that the other day. That I just need to let her go. Just go play. Go have fun. Just do what you. And she was in the same world, and she was just running around doing the exact same stuff, and she was having a blast. She was putting her hat on tanks, shooting shit with tanks, hopping out of those, going and just like, and I'd be like, oh, did you throw your hat on one of those flying Goombas? She's like, no. I'm like, let's see what happens when you do. She's like, I can fly. I'm like, there you go. It's fun shit. So I don't know. Yeah, I need to get out of my own way with that and just be like, hey, go have fun. Because I was playing the original Nintendo at some point. I was playing Super Mario Brothers, Castlevania, these games that, are pretty basic compared to what games are nowadays, but still, I was playing Super Metroid just this past weekend, and I'm like, fuck, I don't remember what to do. Like, I got stuck. I'm like, I didn't used to get stuck when I was a kid. I knew my way around this game like that. I knew the ins and outs, and I'm like, I had to get on the internet and be like, I'm stuck here. What do I do? And they're like, oh, you're at the noob bridge? I'm like, what's the noob bridge? They're like, you forget that you can fucking sprint. I'm like, what button is that? I forgot that I can sprint. I'm like, I'm an idiot, but so I just got to get out of my own way and be like, hey, go play, go have fun, just make your own way with that sort of stuff. But it just makes me like, tonight after dinner, she goes, oh, do you have time to play Uno? I go, oh, probably not. She goes, do you want to watch me play Mario? I'm like, do I? Yes. Let's go play Mario. I'll watch you. I love watching you play games. It's amazing. So anyway, well, gang, thanks so much for hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your week. And I will see you next Tuesday for the next podcast. So until then, be cool. Be safe. We love you. Ta-ta.